year 2 in Cincinnati, you had such a solid, great first year. Do you feel more comfortable? Do you feel different in year 2 after having a year here under your belt?
Yeah, it was definitely easier, coming in the spring and knowing everyone, right? Last year I had to come in and meet all the guys and try to get comfortable with, the training staff and the strength staff and all that. But yeah, now knowing everyone, we can, kind of get that out of the way and hit the ground running. Obviously, really excited for the year ahead.
What did you think of your first year with the Reds as far as your own personal performance?
I liked some of it. Some of it I didn't like. I went through a stretch in the middle of the year that was kind of tough, but I knew, I had to figure out a way to go out there and do better. But just happy to make all the starts, making 32 starts and, throwing the innings and taking the ball every fifth day was something that I really enjoyed. But yeah, I think, past some of the downs that I had, I felt like I had some ups in there too.
Is that one of the things a starting pitcher takes the most pride in is taking the ball every fifth day, more than 30 starts in a season?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's something I pride myself on. It's something I, strive for each and every year, staying healthy and, doing my work off the field to stay healthy and, obviously taking time off when I need to and, pushing when I need to as well. But yeah, I think, throwing the innings and making the starts, something I enjoy the most.
I don't think there's any metric we could lean on to say you guys are top 5 or top 10 as a rotation. But when you stack this thing 1 through 5 and maybe even 1 through 7 when you add some of the other guys who are competing for spots, do you feel this is one of the deepest rotations in baseball?
Yeah, I mean, I think, what you said with the 1 through 7 is such a huge thing because, it's baseball and it's life, and some people, they get hurt, it's the next guy up, and, having those next 2 guys that we have, whoever that is, very complete pitchers, it's really helpful throughout a year. We're definitely spoiled with that. But yeah, just, after getting to watch these guys last year, very special group of guys, works really, really hard. We lean on each other when we need to. We bounce ideas off each other, and it's just a special group to be a part of.
Anytime you have a rotation as deep and talented as yours, that's a great foundation for a team that wants to compete to win at the highest level. Do you think what you guys have as a rotation is A, a big reason you went to the playoffs last year, and B, expectations are so high this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely, expectations are high for that as well, but obviously a complete team too. I mean, the offense is carrying us as well, and the defense. But yeah, the starting rotation, I feel very confident, and yeah, it's a, one of the reasons that we can get deep into the playoffs and obviously get to the playoffs as well. And we got a taste of that last year, and obviously so much fun, popping champagne with those guys, guys that you battle with, all spring and all year long, 162 games plus the whole spring training. So being able to, do that at the end of the year with those guys and getting into that moment was very special.
You said deep into the playoffs. Should that be the new expectation here? That after you got there last year, the expectation should be a next step?
Yeah, absolutely. I think with the offseason that the front office had too. The guys that they went out and got to make us a better club. We made it to the wild card last year. I don't, see why the expectation should be any lower than going, deep into the playoffs. So very excited to see what we can do and just get off on the right foot and go out and have a complete season, for everybody.
Curious to ask someone who's been in the majors now for a while like yourself, when you come to spring training and you start a new season, are you always adding to your game, or are you just fine-tuning what you're good at? How do you approach trying to make sure whatever year is ahead of you becomes the best year for you?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, as you grow older in the game is, obviously staying healthy is a huge thing. Taking care of your body, doing the things you need to do off the field. But yeah, there's some times where I've came to spring training with a whole entire new repertoire and, new pitches and all this new stuff. And there's some times where I just come and fine-tune stuff. So I think, the older you get, the more you learn about yourself and you try to figure out things that'll make you better. But yeah, I think the biggest thing is just being open-minded and understanding that there is ways to make yourself better no matter how good you are. The best in the game are still making themselves better and working on stuff. So yeah, just coming to spring with an open mind of what you need to do, and obviously leaning on the pitching coaches and stuff like that.
All right, I'll finish up with a couple questions about your teammates. I want to start with Hunter. Hunter, obviously, all-star level guy, big fastball, secondary pitches. What do you think the ceiling is for a guy like Hunter Green?
Yeah, and I'll say this with 100% confidence. I think he could be one of the best pitchers in the game. There's no doubt about it. He averages 100 miles an hour on a fastball, and not many guys do that. I think if we see a 32 start season from Hunter Green, he will be one of the best in the game. There's no doubt in my mind about it. The fastball is unbelievable, and the open-mindedness to be better. He can pitch with with a fastball and a slider and be totally fine. He can be unbelievable, you know, the way he is. But adding the splitter, adding the two-seam is just, you know, you can see it how much better he wants to be, even though he's already, you know, one of the best. So it's really cool to listen to him and, you know, how he speaks about himself and, you know, how open-minded he is to go out there and be better than he already is. But I'm excited to see the two-seamer. Obviously, that's a pitch that's near and dear to my heart. You know, I throw a lot of them, so seeing that's going to be really cool. And you know, the splitter too. He's just going to be having pitch that can do all different kinds of things, and very, very special talent. You know, obviously happy to be one of my teammates.
All right, lastly, I asked Chase Burns yesterday who he leans on from the veteran guys to learn more about how to be successful. He said everybody. Mm-hmm. You see his stuff. He's such a young guy. The makeup, his competitive nature. How excited are you to see him in a full season with the Reds?
Yeah, I mean it's 100 green 2.0, right? It's you know, it's another 100-mile-an-hour fastball. Everybody throws 100 these days. But no, I just want to see him confident in himself in the zone. You know, I want to see him understand how good he is. He throws unbelievable. His stuff plays off each other so well. I want to see him have the utmost confidence for himself to go out there and know that he's the best pitcher on the field. You know, he understands that hitting's really hard, and the stuff he brings to the table is very good. So I want to have him go out there 100% confident, pound the zone with all of his stuff, and trust in himself the most he can, and obviously stay healthy as well. But yeah, just be able to learn the game as quick as he can, so he can be the best he can for a very long time.
You want to be a pitching coach when you're done? You sound like one.
I do. You know, I enjoy learning about pitching each and every day, and you know, I get to watch, you know, some of the best guys in the world do their job, so I'm spoiled to sit back and watch these guys do what they do and learn more and more each day.